Determine how many monthly investments of 200 need to be made in an account that pays 6% annual interest, compounded monthly, for the future value to be $100,000. So often in finance stuff, you can give money to a bank and they'll give you an interest rate back. Depending on what you put it in, sometimes they give you better interest rates or not good interest rates. And if you're saving up, like you want to save up $100,000, but right now all you can afford is $200 a month. That seems like it would take a very, very long time. We'll figure out how long that's going to take. So, how do we go about this? We want the future value to be $100,000, so we can put that in for the FB. R is the regular investment. We're regularly investing $200, square bracket, round bracket, 1 plus. And it says I is the interest rate per compounding period. So the interest rate is 6%. And often they'll tell you this on the test as well. Like they would say interest rate as a decimal. Instead of writing 6 as a regular number, you need to change that to 0.06. It's compounded monthly, so per compounding period means that we have to divide that by 12. To the exponent of n minus 1, close that square bracket, all divided by 0.06 over 12 for the I again. Once you have plugged everything in, we realize that we're solving for n, and n is an exponent. So when you're solving for n and n is an exponent, you're going to need to use logarithms. However, as I mentioned in previous examples, if you can get your power by itself, your life will be easier. Don't take logarithm right away. Do some regular math and see, can I get that, which is in the purple box, all by itself first, right? So for example, I don't like this fraction. I don't like the fact that I'm dividing by this. How could I possibly get rid of that? Opposite of dividing, I could multiply both sides by 0.06 over 12. That would nicely cancel that out, okay? Go to my calculator. 100,000 times 0.06 divided by 12 comes out nicely at 500. I'll rewrite everything. And this is really a test of, do you know your order of operations? Right? It says we want to get, you take out that purple pen again. I want to get this by itself. So what should I do next? Should I divide by 200 or should I add 1? Well, order of operations, this adding 1 is in this bracket. I should divide both sides by 200 first. 500 divided by 200 will be 5 over 2, which is 2.5. And now, I'll keep the square bracket there, but can you see that I could technically now take out I don't really need this square bracket anymore. It's not doing anything anymore on that side. So now I could add 1 to both sides. And I finally get this all by itself on one side of the equation. Once you have it all by itself, now we can use our log laws and use the powerful thing of taking the log of both sides. If I take the log of this side, and I take the log of this side, can you see that that n that was there could come out in front? Interestingly, if you would look at provincial exams on how this question is marked, they usually give you a half a mark for plugging in everything in the right spot. then all of this work to get this by itself, sometimes they give you a half a mark, sometimes they give you nothing for that. So you're like, but I did all of this work to get this, and then this step right here is worth 2 marks. Taking the log of both sides is worth, like, to know when to do that is worth a whole mark. Just writing log in front of one side and log in front of the other side. And then I did 2 steps in one. It's not bad. If you did this and kept the n up there, and the next step brought it out, bringing that n out in front is a log law. You get a whole mark for that. So all of that other work is like nothing, and then you get a whole mark for this, and now we need to get n by itself. So can you see that if I take the log of 3.5 and divide by the log of 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12, I can go to my calculator, maybe, and divide that and get the answer. If you have the fraction button, it's really nice to use in these situations, and you don't have to worry about putting extra brackets. Yeah, that's good. 0.06. Divide by 12. 251.1. And that would be n. So always write 3 decimal places before rereading the question. And does it say how much they want us to round to? They say how many monthly investments. Sometimes they're, does it make sense that 251 wouldn't be enough? Even though it rounds down to 251 because of the context of the question, you would need 252 payments. If I'm doing that per, oh, this sounds like a long time. Where you're only doing it monthly, 21 years. Ouch. But, right, I have the advantage of being alive 21 years ago. You do not have that advantage. So you don't have to be guilty about not having $100,000 right now. I have to be guilty. Because I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done that. Because if I would have done that 21 years ago, I would now have $100,000. Right? Then I would have. But if you think of that though, how much did you actually spend? You only put in $200 every time. 252 times $200. Oh, I definitely, like, I could find $50,000. I could find $50,000. I could work around. If someone was willing to trade me $100,000 for $50,000, I'm sure I could. Right? I could, you know, you'd probably give me $10 if I said I'll give you $11 back tomorrow. Could probably get some money from different people. This is a good deal, right? Only cost you $50,000 to get $100,000. If you have a graphing calculator, the graphing calculator has a very cool program built into it to figure out these things, and you can use it to check your answers. I'm going to show you how to use it if you do have it. It's under the apps button, so if you hit the apps button, the very first one is finance. And the very first one here, the TVM, says time value money. If you're dealing with money over a certain amount of time, it can figure out a whole bunch of important things. And I'm going to show you how it works and what different things stand for. So in the example that we just did, we didn't know how many payments. So this one, I can put a 0 in, this is the one I don't know. I know that my interest rate was 6%. I started with $0, and I wanted to end in the future with $100,000. And I'm putting away $200 per month. So in this program, in order for the math to work, sometimes we have to use positive numbers and sometimes we have to use negative numbers. And the easiest way to think about whether you should put in a positive number or a negative number is whenever you get something and can put it in your pocket. So in the future, what do we want to get? We want to get $100,000. Be very fun to try to put that in my pocket. And that's why the $100,000 is positive. But whenever we're either putting it in the bank or paying somebody, taking money out of our pocket and giving it to someone else, that's going to be negative. So the $200 is negative. The P per Y stands for how many payments per year. So we're doing monthly payments, would be 12. And the C per Y is how many compounding periods per year. So that would be 12 as well. And then once you've put in all the information, you go back to the one you didn't know. We didn't know how many payments it needed. And here we can hit the alpha button. And above the enter button it says solve. So alpha solve. And it finds that 251.178, exactly all the decimals that we had before, which is really nice. What's really nice about this program is you can play around with things, right? Your buddy does the same thing, but they get 7%. So we already know you did it for 21 years to get $100,000. Your buddy finds 7%. Does it make sense that they're going to have more money? How much more do you think? Like $1,000 more? $10,000 more? They're still putting the same $200 away. They just got 1 tiny percent more than you. So I can go to the future value and I can hit the alpha solve, because now I'm curious, what would they get? Alpha solve, $113,000, $13,000 more just because they got 1% more. And today, when we do some of our other questions, my hope is that you can see how the mathematics we learned today can save you not only hundreds, not only thousands, but hopefully tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The mathematics we learned today, if you understand how it works, you can figure out ways to save yourself lots of money. But we'll get to that in the next couple of examples. Okay, so 252 payments. We're going to use that program a little bit more as well. I'm going to get you to circle questions 3 and 6. Of course, on your exam, you wouldn't be able to use the TDM solver because it's in a graphing calculator. You have to show all of this work and get that power by itself.